Hey everybody, HomeSliceHenry here, and in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at a very spicy Pokemon that has the ability to destroy Poliwrath, and that is Shadow Latios. These battles were submitted to the channel by a member of the community, Gobs, so many thanks for the battle submission. There are quite a few good dragon types in the Open Great League. Shadow Dragonair, Guzzlord, Arctibax. The interesting thing about Shadow Latios is that it does have the Psychic subtyping, meaning that it does resist counter. Shadow Latios, definitely more of a pick for fun than for climbing, but this trainer has some amazing battles with it. So without further ado, let's hop into the matches. Hopping to the first match, and our target has been acquired, Shadow Latios versus Poliwrath. As you can see, these Shadow Dragon Breaths are absolutely tearing through this Poliwrath. The damage output from Shadow Latios is absolutely no joke. Poliwrath is going to be firing off the Icy Wind. This will get a shield from the Latios and will of course come with the guaranteed one-stage attack drop. Continuing to farm up is the Latios. Latios is going to be firing off another Dragon Claw. Opponent is going to double shield, so I'm guessing they have something in the back that does not want to see a Dragon type as they are double shielding on the lead. Latios is going to get the full farm down. What is the opponent going to be sending in here? They send in a Gligar. Unfortunately, not enough health remaining on the Shadow Latios to make it to a Luster Purge. Just going to settle for a double debuff Dragon Claw. And now in comes Whiscash in the back. Opponent has Superior. We're going to see the Scald banked for later and sending in of the Shadow Nidoqueen. Nidoqueen is going to take quite a lot of damage from this Frenzy Plant. Frenzy Plant connects, dealing big damage. Nidoqueen is going to overfarm by 1 and play to charge attack priority. This Poison Fang will connect. It does pick up the knockout. Back in comes the Gligar. Gligar is going to get the farm down, but it's not going to matter. Whiscash not in a range where one move is going to be able to knock out, and the Scald is loaded. So Dig connects. Whiscash gets the return fire with this Scald. Scald picks up the knockout, and that's a good game. Hopping to the next match, going up against Rubik's Master, who placed second at this year's Pokemon Go World Championships. Picking up a terrible lead, Shadow Latios versus the Wigglytuff. Latios throws one Dragon Breath and then save switches into the Whiscash, making sure to defer the charm damage onto the Whiscash. Opponent staying in here with the Wigglytuff. Whiscash goes for the Scald and gets the debuff. That is very, very clutch. Opponent is going to be returning fire with the Icy Wind. That's going to be no-shielded, and the opponent is going to switch out as they're going to be sending in Sableye. Sableye will be hit with the Scald. Scald is going to connect and gets another debuff. We see the Whiscash making it to the Scald, but the opponent actually plays the charge attack priority, and Foul Play is going to pick up the knockout. This sets up a farm down for the Shadow Latios. Shadow Latios looking for the farm down, but can't quite get there. The Sableye able to hang on low HP and grab a shield with a Foul Play. The switch clocks are slightly misaligned here, which means that when they send the Wigglytuff, the Nidoqueen should be able to get an energy head start. In comes that Wigglytuff. We see the switch into the Nidoqueen in the back. It's Diggersby. Oh no, this is really not looking good here. The alignment in this game is terrible, but the good news is that the Nidoqueen does have a pretty sizable energy head start. Scorching Sands would pick up the knockout. Nidoqueen commits the shield and gets baited with a Fire Punch. Oh no, Nidoqueen farming up to the Earth Power, and this looks like charge attack priority. I believe Earth Power would be enough to knock out here. The opponent forced to burn the final shield, and the debuff comes through. That's such a clutch debuff. This may allow the Latios to farm down. In comes the Latios. Latios needs the farm down to win. Switch clock is up. In comes the Wigglytuff, but it's going to be met with the Shadow Luster Purge. Luster Purge picks up the KO onto the Wigglytuff. Diggersby gets farmed down, and that's a good game. We've got a battle of dragons in the next match, Shadow Latios versus Shadow Dragonite. This will be interesting to see. This will be a very fast matchup, super effective Dragon Breath, shredding through the HP, and it's the Shadow Latios on 1 HP, able to win the matchup and leave with a Shadow Dragon Claw that's going to do some pretty sizable damage to the opponent's Greedent. And now there's a choice. Do you choose to send in the Nidoqueen or send in the Whiscash? Choosing to send in the Nidoqueen here, expecting that the opponent is going to be weak to the Whiscash in the back, considering they have the Dragonite lead. Nidoqueen farming up to the Earth Power, playing the charge attack priority, baiting with the Poison Fang, and getting a shield from the opponent. That is a pretty big bait there. Opponent is going to fire off the Body Slam, and now Nidoqueen is going to be able to make it to another Poison Fang, and again, winning charge attack priority here. This Poison Fang is going to pick up the knockout. What does the opponent have in the back? Oh no, they have a Lantern, and the read was accurate, saving the Whiscash in the back, and Whiscash is about to absolutely destroy this Lantern. Lantern is not going to be able to spark down here. Lantern is going to be forced to throw energy, but the Nidoqueen's saying not so fast. The Nidoqueen is going to go for yet another Poison Fang here, trying to finish the game by itself. Opponent is going to commit the shield. At this point, the opponent is hoping against hope it's something like a Pelipper in the back, but bad news for the opponent. It's a Whiscash. Opponent sees the Whiscash, and they resign the match. Hopping into the next match, picking up a terrible lead, Shadow Latios versus Shadow Alolan Ninetales. Throwing a Dragon Breath, safe switching into the Whiscash, opponent is going to respond with Poliwrath. Whiscash does have a slight energy advantage here, and the pacing to Mud Bomb is absolutely terrific. Landing a Mud Bomb number 1, already going for Mud Bomb number 2 here. This will not knock out, but will do quite a lot of damage. The opponent is going to commit a shield. Poliwrath firing off a charge move. We see a confident no shield from the Whiscash. It is just going to be the Icy Wind. Icy Wind is going to set up a big farm down for the Poliwrath. Whiscash able to make one final Mud Bomb. This will not KO, so we will actually see an undercharge here to give either the Latios or the Nidoqueen farm. Latios is going to enter the field. Shielding up the Icy Wind, as that would do massive damage. Throwing a Dragon Breath, the switch into the Nidoqueen to get an energy advantage. In the back, opponent has Medicham, so this energy advantage on the Nidoqueen is absolutely vital. Nidoqueen is going to be firing off the Earth Power. Earth Power connects. Opponent tries to call the bait, and now this sets up a win con where Nidoqueen can potentially Poison Jab farm down the Medicham. Medicham in trouble. Opponent sends in the Ninetales. Ninetales able to make it to a Weather Ball, but just beforehand the Poison Fang is thrown. Ninetales commits the final shield, and this Weather Ball is going to pick up the knockout. It's all up to Shadow Latios to try and win the game. This Ninetales is debuffed. Is a Dragon Claw going to be enough? We'll have to find out. The Dragon Claw is reached. Will this be enough to KO? Dragon Claw knocks out the Ninetales. All that's left in the back is the Medicham, and Shadow Latios, against all odds, takes the win. It's going to be tough odds in the next match, leading Shadow Latios into Alolan Sandslash, and this is definitely the core breaker for the team. Just gonna fully sacrifice the Latios, as of course Nidoqueen also gets completely destroyed by the Sandslash. Now gonna send in the Whiscash. Whiscash looking to farm up quite a bit of energy here. We do see the shield as the Alolan Sandslash fires off the Drill Run. Whiscash continuing to overfarm. Whiscash well over 2 Mud Bombs now. Is the opponent going to commit a shield here? They are not. They're gonna let that through. They're going to send in a Azumarill, going to be firing off the Scald. Fishing for that 50% attack drop. Scald will be no shield and gets the attack drop. That is absolutely massive. Getting the attack drop on the first try in the Azu matchup helps Whiscash so much, as that means that a potential Poliwrath is going to be doing significantly less damage. And now Whiscash can just keep firing off Mud Bomb after Mud Bomb in this matchup, continuing to chip away at the HP of the Azu. And again, due to the debuff, when Azu goes for the move here, they only go for the Ice Beam. That does not do a whole lot of damage. Whiscash able to make it to another Mud Bomb. These bubbles are adding up, but again, that debuff is just massively game impacting here. Whiscash continuing to farm, but the Azu is not going to let them make it to another Mud Bomb. This Ice Beam will pick up the KO. It's all up to Nidoqueen in the back. It's a Lantern. Nidoqueen has enough of an energy lead that it should be able to make it to double Earth Power. Earth Power number 1 does get shielded. Nidoqueen continuing to farm. Opponent farming up energy as well, and they're going to be firing off the Surf. Surf is going to be shielded up. Nidoqueen needing to make it to the Earth Power, and does on charge attack priority. This is a Shadow Nidoqueen. This is super effective damage. Picking up the KO. In comes the Azu. Oh no! The Azu makes a move. Can Nido live an Ice Beam here? Nidoqueen with 1 HP takes the win. Moving into the next match, leading Shadow Latios into Medicham. The matchup versus Poliwrath is better than the matchup versus Medicham, because Medicham does have better pacing. Latios continuing to farm. Medicham is going to fire off the Ice Punch as soon as they get there. Latios is going to commit the shield on the Ice Punch, and Latios is going to continue to farm. Opponent sends in the Lickitung, building up to the Luster Purge, going to bait with the Dragon Claw. Dragon Claw bait does get shielded, choosing to send in Whiscash. This is a bit of a surprising play. I would have expected to see the Nidoqueen here, but I guess reading that the Nidoqueen is going to be valuable in the back. Power Whip does get shielded up, going to be firing off the Scald. Scald is going to be no shielded by the opponent, and Whiscash does get the debuff. With the debuff, Whiscash does have the ability to actually survive a Power Whip, so this matchup is actually not as bad as one might think. Scald number 2 is going to connect. We do not see the debuff, so this is only a -1 power whip into the Whiscash. Whiscash able to survive. That is the power of Scald right there. Oh my goodness. Getting debuffs, able to survive double super effective moves. The Mud Bomb is going to pick up the KO. Back in comes the Medicham. Medicham is going to be met with the Shadow Latios. Latios going to be firing off the Dragon Claw. This will do quite a lot of damage to the Medicham. The Dragon Claw connects in the back. Oh no, the team read was wrong. It's a Skarmory in the back, and that's game over. We've got a Core Breaker on the lead in the next match, Shadow Latios versus Trevenant. These Shadow Claws absolutely shredding through the Latios, but look at Latios outputting quite a lot of damage onto this Trevenant in return. Trevenant forced to give up a shield. Trevenant is going to get a farm down, and now in comes the Shadow Nidoqueen. Trevenant firing off energy. We will see the shield in case they go for the Shadow Ball, and they do. The Trevenant does not bait, and that's going to allow Nidoqueen to go for the farm down, but the Trevenant is able to hang on with a fraction of HP and make it to the last second Shadow Ball. I thought the Nidoqueen was going to pick up the knockout there, but it's not to be. In comes a Lantern. Nidoqueen not going to bait, firing off the Earth Power. Earth Power will be shielded. We see the switch into the Whiscash. Opponent staying in this matchup, so it looks like that with the Trevenant gone, they are very weak to the Whiscash in the back. Surf will connect, continuing to farm. That's another Surf from the Lantern. Lantern desperately trying to get chip damage onto the Whiscash here. Whiscash has so much energy. One Mud Bomb will not be enough to knock out here. Whiscash is going to need to fire off 2 moves. The Mud Bomb will connect. Whiscash continuing to farm, going for the Mud Bomb, and it's caught onto a Bastiodon, and now we see what they had in the back. The Bastiodon. Oh my goodness. Whiscash looking to massively overfarm here and fire off this Mud Bomb. Mud Bomb is going to connect, getting that Bastiodon low. Whiscash. Oh my goodness, I think Whiscash got the back-to-back here. That would be massive. The Mud Bomb picks up the KO and does have the back-to-back. The energy management is perfect. Mud Bomb KOs the Lantern, and despite a terrible lead, able to get a win. Picking up a positive lead in the next match, Shadow Latios versus Defense Deoxys. If Deoxys does have Rock Slide, this matchup does get a bit more tricky, but most are running Thunderbolt and Psycho Boost, and in that case, this is honestly pretty okay for the Latios. They're just going to go for the Psycho Boost and dip. Shadow Latios is so glassy that even a Psycho Boost does quite a lot. They send in Lickitung, choosing to throw energy here. Going to fire off the Dragon Claw, opponent is going to let that through, and this time choosing to send in Nidoqueen. A lot of the time that I've seen this team, there is a Guzzlord in the back. Guzzlord could be a bit tricky to deal with in the endgame. Poison Fang will be no-shielded. Opponent able to withstand that damage, but not by much as they connect with the Body Slam. Nidoqueen cannot get the farm down. Oh no, we see the Lickitung able to make the last second Body Slam, and there it is, right on cue. In comes the Guzzlord. Nidoqueen building up to the Earth Power, going to bait with the Poison Fang. Poison Fang bait does get shielded. Nidoqueen cannot make the Poison Fang. It gets knocked out right as it gets there, and this Guzzlord with energy is looking like it's going to be able to sweep the endgame, sending in the Latios to get whatever energy and damage is possible. Didn't get enough energy for a move, but able to get some damage to potentially put this into a range where one Mud Bomb can knock out, and the opponent with the catch. Oh my goodness. Catching the Mud Bomb onto the Deoxys, and at this point, I just don't see a win con in this game. Able to make it to the Scald. The Scald should be able to pick up a knockout versus the Deoxys, but unfortunately, you're gonna need 2 Mud Bombs here, and Guzzlord is just absolutely inevitable, and that's game over. Hopping into the final match, Shadow Latios versus Cresselia. Most Cresselia are not running Moonblast, so this is a good lead. Opponent is going to save switch into the Lickitung, and Latios is going to stay in here, taking a massive amount of lick damage to fire off the Claw. The Claw connects. Again, the damage output from this Pokemon is crazy. As I mentioned at the start, there are a lot of very, very good dragon types like Shadow Dragonair, even Shadow Dragonite, Guzzlord that we've seen. I do think that Latios does have an interesting anti-meta role. It's by no means the #1 preferred dragon, but I do think it's really cool that it's a dragon that has that counter resistance, so it can do a lot of the things that you want a dragon to do, while also resisting counter from Poliwrath, which as we know is absolutely everywhere. Cresselia is going to be firing off energy here. They go for the Grass Knot, and now I guess it's Latios time. Just send it back in. Although a Future Sight, even though it's resisted, would still do quite a lot of damage, and Latios is starting to run out of HP here, so we will see the shield from the Latios as the opponent is going to go for the Grass Knot. Continuing to farm up here. Opponent makes the last second charge move. Oh no. This Grass Knot will not get the KO. In the back, it's Typhlosion. Look at the spice from the opponent. And that's a good game. All in all, I think that Shadow Latios is a very interesting spice pick in the current Open Great League meta. As I mentioned, dragons as a whole are very strong. Of course, with how strong Pokemon like Lantern and the fires like Skeledirge and the Talonflame are, there's definitely going to be a role for dragons, and we've seen increased prominence from Shadow Dragonair and Guzzlord as well. I do think that the fact that Latios does have the counter resistance and can better handle Poliwrath that the other dragons don't necessarily do as well against is very interesting, but of course the lack of bulk definitely does hold it back, and as you can see, there are some new weaknesses added by having the Psychic typing, such as doing quite poorly into Lickitung since the Licks do hit for super effective damage. So I definitely don't think it's the best dragon, that definitely still goes to Shadow Dragonair and Guzzlord, but I do think it is a very fun anti-meta spice pick. Definitely more of a pick for fun than for climbing, but man, getting to delete Poliwraths with a dragon, absolutely worth it in my book. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you're enjoying the content, make sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. And a special thank you as always to our members here on YouTube. The support guys provide is sincerely appreciated, so thank you guys oh so very much. And until next time, I've been HomeSliceHenry.